Welcome to Today of All Days, episode 40.
How did I get here?
Today is Wednesday, July 5th, 2017. And since today is our 40th episode, we figured that we would invite a special guest with us here today. And that brings us to our first holiday, which is National Graham Cracker Day!
Graham crackers were inspired by the teachings of Sylvester Graham during the temperance movement.
Graham believed that whole grain bread from wheat coarsely ground at home was the way to a healthy lifestyle. This idea took off in the U.S. during the cholera pandemic.
And it is Graham who ushered in a vegetarian movement, stating that any form of pleasure and stimulation should be minimal in one's life, because that is how God intended it.
His followers were known as Grahamites, and they were the ones who invented graham, flour, bread, and crackers.
To commemorate today, we figured we would share with you our special secret graham cracker snack time recipe, which calls for not only graham crackers, but some beautiful creamy peanut butter and a sprinkling of raisins.
Taste it!
It goes well with the Kool-Aid! And that brings us to
Today in History. In 1996, the world's first cloned mammal was born.
This sheep, named Dolly, was cloned using the somatic cells of an adult sheep in Edinburgh, Scotland. The experiment was headed by Ian Wilmot and Keith Campbell at the Rosalind Institute.
Now, let's talk about Dolly's name for a second. Wilmot stated that Dolly is derived from a mammary gland cell, and we couldn't think of a more impressive pair of glands than Dolly Parton's. Them some big old glands.
Dolly took the world by storm. Conflicting ideologies around the world questioned whether or not it was ethical to clone a living being, and whether or not this new science could or should be used on humans.
Yeah, I remember whenever this first happened, it was a huge deal. And you pretty much had people on either the science side that were like, oh man, this is fantastic, or the people that were saying that they were playing God. And you shouldn't even mess with that. You shouldn't, that's a untouchable area, if you will.
Fast forward, and now we actually clone quite a variety of things, whether it's for pharmaceutical use, agricultural use, or if you've lost a dear pet.
You can have them revived. Fido can now be Fido too. It was originally thought that Dolly would have lived 14 years, but she only lived until a few months shy of her 7th birthday. It makes me wonder, maybe when you clone them, maybe they get like a half-life. 4 clones out, they're living only like a year. I wonder. I don't know. I'm no scientist.
And with that, we move forward to
National Apple Turnover Day.
Pies themselves date back to 9500 BC, but back then, pies were made to increase the portability of a food. The crust was really just a transport vessel for the savory, meaty interiors, and it was pretty much inedible.
Man, this pie crust tastes like a paper plate. It is a paper plate.
By the 14th century, lard was being added to the dough, creating a more palatable crust. The puff pastry dough that we use for apple turnovers were being crafted back in the 17th and 18th centuries in France and Italy.
It is unknown when the first turnovers were made. However, they evolved as a more portable version of pie. And everybody loves their pie. Might as well have pie on the go.
While we know turnovers to be desserts, other countries use savory or meaty fillings, turning them into what we know today to be empanadas, calzones, samosas, risoles, and
pierogi! I love me some pierogi, man. God, that is one of my favorite foreign foods that I will ever have. If I could eat a pierogi a day, I could just live life away. Turnovers made their way into American cuisine as soon as the first Europeans stepped foot on the continent. But the first time the term turnover is seen is in a 1798 sporting magazine that defines the term turnover.
And of course, it wouldn't be a holiday without some beautiful homemade apple turnovers made by yours truly. And you know what happens next? Go ahead, rate the turnovers. Rate them. Text 1 to approve, text 2 to disapprove. But you wouldn't want to do that, would you?
Oh, turnover time!
Pick one.
They're all mine.
We hope that you can potentially have some apple turnovers as beautiful as these, prepared by my lovely wife. And so, without further ado, let's dig in.
Wow.
That's so flaky.
This is the best apple turnover I've ever had.
Oh, please. You're just saying that in hopes that we'll let you escape.
Escape to a place called Stockholm.
And as you go about the day to celebrate the many, many holidays of this glorious day, why not make some apple turnovers and stick them in your back pocket for later, on this day.
Today of all days.
Today of all days.
And we will see y'all tomorrow. Bye.